I did bring up the MK-18 and the Vector, and so since the last time we've put out the podcast, like literally the Vector started at like 50K this wipe. It's already up to like nearly 100 now or something. So they've really been increasing the price on that. We are starting to see a lot more of the MK-18, and now that people are it's more available. I don't know if they actually removed that from the loot room pool. I think it might still be in there actually. And
Raiders
so
can have it.
Raiders can have it. Okay. But okay, so my general question first: how do you see the Vector and the MK-18 in the future? What are your thoughts of how it's been with these two guns in the game, and what do you think they're going to continue to do to make sure that they fit in the game well? And also, third, side question. That's the first part of the question. How do you think that they will shape the game and have been shaping the game, MK-18 and Vector? And then the other question is, do you think the MK-18 will be used more often as a close to medium range weapon with like a red dot, where people just try to hit one, like shotgun you, because it's a one tap, or do you think it'll be used more often as a long range weapon?
For the MK-18, at least, I definitely think it's probably going to be mostly used for long range, just because like
the price.
If you're using a Vector or like a Mosin or an MK-18, like I'm going to choose MK-18 every time. Ammo's expensive as hell. With the Vector, the mags themselves are so expensive. Like I've seen them at like 50 grand in the market. So both these guns are really limited for early level players. Nobody's going to be getting these laser beams or these one shot monster guns. Being able to use them efficiently early levels, unless you pick up the full kit from some Chad that you slain. So it's good early game because the higher geared players can afford them, and they're really good against lower geared players. Like the Vector shooting like AP ammo or the 7N31, like that will shred lower level body armors and stuff like that, but actually not super good against better equipped people. So it doesn't change like the meta, I guess, of like really high level Tarkov playing. But it is frustrating to go against earlier on, just from the sheer number of bullets they can send down range and the damage that it does to us little guys trying to quest around here. But I enjoy using them. Whenever I can get my hands on them, it's a fun time. Like I like it when they add fun guns because I don't know, it feels really satisfying to get kills with them. Unlike the GL40, which you click and you get loot. So at least there's the tiniest bit of skill. If the Vector and the MK-18 are the worst things that Battlestate does besides the GL40, then that's going in a good direction, I think.
Yeah. Man. The Lapua I think is a really good idea. I mean, the bullets themselves, 25K for a round is just you're buying a body. You know what I mean? Just directly buying a body bag. And that's cool. Honestly, I think that's really lit. That they have this op kind of sniper that just one shots people, right? It's guaranteed you're pulling out your hair if you don't kill them in one hit. And I think that's really lit. The Vector, I think, could use some tweaking. I can't lie. Maybe to the recoil, maybe. I don't know, bro. I mean, is it? I mean, I haven't really handled one in real life. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how good it is.
They're they're accurate to the real life version.
Yeah, no, they are.
Vectors in real life, how their exhausting work. Their pin or their fire mechanism, it goes through the body and down.
Yes, no, I was literally just about to say that. Siegel's right.
Mm-hmm. Recoil that way instead of back into your shoulder like most guns, which has a vertical kick to it. So that way it sends down and you're already holding it down. So literally it feels like it's not moving really at all. It's an impressive gun in real life, so adding in Tarkov is something most unrealistic thing if it's not very recoil heavy. But
I don't know. I guess just try to make it more rare or something.
That's probably a good way to do it.
Yeah. So I guess in response to what you guys both said, I definitely hear you. I think you're right, Sieglum. I think that in the early game it's not quite as substantial, but I think it's going to be very interesting as we continue down to the late game to see how this affects things. Because now. We're talking about a very different late wipe, this wipe, than last wipe. Because now we have the Vector, now we have the MK-18. What's it going to be like in this late wipe? How armor was already pretty not worth it. Like at the end of last wipe, is it going to be even worse this wipe? You know, so we'll see. But I agree. I think it's definitely less of an issue than the GL40. They're obviously still require some level of skill, and they're really fun. Like I have loved the shit out of both of those guns. You know, so I'm not complaining from that standpoint. I do think that they need to try to balance. Obviously, this game is still a beta, so they're trying to balance along the way, but it's not going to be perfect, and it's going to be something that they're going to be working on. So we're just here to talk about what we think that they should do for balancing, things like that. But yeah, they're very fun guns. I think that the pricing, like the MK-18 seems priced really well to me right now. It's very expensive. The ammo is really expensive. It's just hard to get available. The Vector is so much easier to get, you know. When it comes to getting the Vector from a trader, it's nothing, dude. It's nothing. There's got to be a bigger price difference because you hardly have to mod it, too. You just throw a cheap Cobra sight on that thing or something, and it's a monster.
Add a handle under under 40
recoil. It's got to be substantially more expensive than the MPX and the MP5 and stuff like that. So that way you're like have more of a reason to use those. So you're like, just go MP5 or something because it's not on the same level as a Vector. It's not even close. I'm being honest. But maybe at that point you'd be like, it's just so much cheaper, like, you know. But it's just not that kind of a decision right now when you have all these traders leveled up. Obviously, it's not available to you early wipe because you don't have on the flea. Everything's still expensive, but they need. I think Vector's got to keep going up, personally. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how those new guns keep shaping the game. Something we'll continue to monitor. I do think GL40 is more of a question. Actually, Cito, I want to let you go ahead and say what you're saying about the Vector and the MK-18. Let's touch that real quick, and then we'll jump into the next thing.
Yeah, it'll just be a real good idea. You know, Battlestate, if you just decided to, you know, put the guns such as like the Vector, MK-18, which are like, you know, I think we should really state that, or in the GL40, sure thing, you know, we should really state that these weapons are just complete weapons of mass destruction. And I think that, you know, you maybe need to give a level 4 mechanic like, you know, a couple of light X's or some bullshit, you know, just to get a hold of them.
5 light X's for GL. I like it.
Maybe the Vector would be a little bit cheaper, you know.
Yeah, just like 4.
Those buying that much AP ammo, I think really makes up for a lot of cost.
So let me confirm. You're saying that you think that they need to add the Vector, the GL40, and the MK-18 and stuff to like traders?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Can't even get off the fleet.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. So like, just don't make them in raid. Hurry. I guess.
Where you need to have like super good relations with like these guys who can get these, you know, extraordinary weapons.
That's an interesting thought.
That's a good idea for like the GL as well, like locking it behind traders and doing stuff like that. Like having to complete the grenade launcher quest in order to do it, and that's expensive. That's a good way to do it, honestly. I like that.
I hear you. I think that's another. We'll add that idea into the mix. I think that this is something that hopefully our community can keep talking about in the comments and chat, and we can retouch on this and kind of talk about the ideas that we've had on here and see what we really like later on.